we've got A Haunting in Venice coming out. Kenneth Branagh has single-handedly revived the Agatha Christie movie genre, which was like, this murder mystery genre onto itself.
Yeah.
That was dominated by Agatha Christie stories, but then other movies, you've seen a lot of movies like, See How They Run was the name of that movie, by the way. I was like, See If They Run? No, See How They Run, which was a decent movie. But then we have seen like The Murder on the Nile, or no, it was Death on the Nile, Murder on the Orient Express, these classic movies being remade based on the Agatha Christie books. And now we're getting the third of these movies in the series with Kenneth Branagh directing and starring as the detective Hercule Poirot. It's the first horror tinged movie in that franchise that I've seen in the modern iteration. What do you think about The Haunting in Venice? Is this something that you're excited about? It is coming out at a time of year then where horror movies are all the rage. Do you think it's going to get drowned out by all the other horror movies, or is this going to be able to stand out? And particularly in the backdrop that the previous Death on the Nile had all that Army Hammer controversy, so the movie kind of got buried. Do you feel like this new one can kind of bring that franchise back to its peak, like when Murder on the Orient Express came out a few years back?
I know that this movie will do good. There is an audience for it. It turns out we love mysteries still. And bringing these Agatha Christie movies back is great because it's introducing the new generation to these stories. I know that I love watching them and I have a kick out of them. And honestly, I think it's great that they're releasing it in October because it's kind of comparing, movies to TV where it's like, hey, here's a Halloween episode where things get spooky, but I think it will be, it'll be really good. It'll be interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised, possible spoiler alert, I'm just making a prediction, that it is all fake and that they're just trying to figure out the magic of how they do it, which is most likely how it's going to be. But I'm excited to see the tricks. You know what I mean? Yeah. What do you feel?
That's always been a part of these Agatha Christie books. It's kind of like, watching a Scooby-Doo cartoon, but live action, right? Like you have to, like all the smoke and mirrors, and that's part of what the detective is trying to get around. In fact, the second Knives Out movie kind of did a lot of that too. What was the second Knives Out movie called? It was Glass Onion, yeah. Where they were basically, the whole thing was like a setup, and that's what we find out at the end. Sorry, spoiler alert. But yeah, I definitely think that this is a movie series that has been underappreciated, because The Murder on the Orient Express, while it did really well, I definitely think that it could have done better. And if Death on the Nile didn't have all the Army Hammer controversy that kind of delayed it for a couple of years, and the pandemic and everything else that went around it, it could have been like the launching off point, because the movie itself is pretty good. Gal Gadot and all the other like cast members that had a stacked cast. I think Letitia Wright was in it. There was just so many other great actors.
Yeah.
This is the kind of franchise where it has a niche audience, but it has the potential to draw in all four quadrants. Like, because these aren't movies that go super heavy into the extreme in any direction. So I don't expect this to be like a horror movie through and through. It's definitely going to be a murder mystery that has horror elements in it. I don't think we're going to get a lot of like body horror or a lot of like really extreme jump scares. They're going to like lean into the genre conventions, but I definitely think at the end of the day, like they're going to stick to it being a murder mystery, Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie kind of a movie. So I think this is the kind of movie that if you go see it once and you think you can bring your kids, your family to it, you can do that, or you might want to do that in the first weekend. And it is the time of the year that the fall months are here. We're in September, heading into October, so you're gonna have so many horror movies coming out, and this is probably one of those horror movies that, unlike a Saw X, you can probably bring your kids to. So without like scaring the heck out of them or having them see stuff that you probably don't want them to look at. I don't think this is a rated R movie either, if I'm correct.
No, I'm pretty sure it's
like PG-13, right? Like it's. Let's take a quick look.
Google didn't tell me.
It's PG-13. Yeah.
Okay.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it says that disturbing images, thematic elements, some strong violence. Like it's probably going to be scarier than Haunted Mansion was, which was like Although there were some elements in Haunted Mansion that were pretty scary. Like I was like, for a Disney movie, there's some stuff in here that I wouldn't have expected it to be there, and particularly because like the Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy in 2003, that movie was not that scary in hindsight. Like it was, if you're a kid, you'll probably get scared in some elements. Like, and I grew up watching that movie, but Haunted Mansion was kind of scary in some ways, but still, like you could bring your whole family to it. It was family friendly, and I think this movie will be maybe a level up in terms of the scariness, but at the end of the day, you're still watching a murder mystery. So I'm excited for it. There's also The Inventor coming out next week, which is like a movie about Leonardo da Vinci. It's a stop motion movie. So if you want to like counter program and go watch that instead, you can see that. But yeah, it's The Equalizer 3 still in theaters. There's so many movies, good movies still out there. Barbie and Oppenheimer are still out there making money. I think Oppenheimer is now the second highest grossing rated R movie of all time, behind Joker. And the Joker made $1 billion, so I don't think it's going to get there. But you know, number two is it's higher than the two Deadpool movies now. Oppenheimer has made more movies than both Deadpool movies did, and Barbie is the biggest movie of the year so far. The highest grossing movie is past Mario Brothers. So there's still plenty of options out there, guys. Roland, are you going to be checking out the movies this week? Are you going to be going to the theater nearby?
I'm definitely going to try to check out Haunting in Venice. If not this week, then next.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely gonna go check out A Haunting in Venice, and then we're gonna talk about it next week on the show. But until then, guys, for the love of movies, go check out the movie at your local movie theater. Let us know what you guys think about it, and we'll be back here talking about the movies and everything all about Hollywood, the strikes, all the stuff that we got at D23 this weekend, and so much more and beyond. And until then, guys, stay curious, and for the love of movies, keep going and checking out the films, and come back and talk to us about it next week on the show.